Joining the military has a lot of sacrifices, and those sacrifices go beyond being away from family. From the moment you step into basic training, your life changes in ways that many don't fully expect. Some are small, like a mandatory haircut. Others are lifelong, impacting your body, mind, and future. In this video, we'll cover the three major sacrifices, both physical, mental, and life/career. By the end, you'll have a clear picture of what military life demands, and if I miss anything, make sure to drop it down in the comments below. But before we jump into today's video, I want to introduce myself if you're brand new to this channel. My name is McKeown, and welcome to the Veteran Advantage channel. I'm a proud U.S. Marine Corps veteran and had the honor of serving from 2008 to 2012 out of Camp Pendleton, California. Whether or not you're still on active duty, getting ready to transition into civilian life, or just curious about the benefits available after serving in the military, or potentially even looking at whether or not the military is for you, this channel's got you covered. So go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to stay tuned for more future content. Now, the military is physically demanding. Obviously, I think we are all very aware of that. And the first thing here you'll notice is how hard it is on your body. Injuries are not just a possibility, they're almost a certainty. Stress fractures, sprains, blisters, and joint pain become a regular part of your life, especially in combat or physically demanding roles. Over time, the wear and tear can certainly add up. And if you don't stay on top of medical care, you could be dealing with chronic pain long after the service ends. Now, one thing will obviously vary here. If you are an individual in the Marine Corps, let's say you're 0311 and you're infantry, you're going to have a whole lot more wear and tear on your body than someone like myself who worked in a supply warehouse. Now, a lot of times there'll be conversations that veterans will have that will sit there and say that their time in service was more valuable than others because they were 0311, or they were on the front lines, or they were ground side versus air side. Needless to say, if you served the country, my view at the end of the day is you served your country. As long as you did it honorably, your service matters. But in regards to just talking about overall pain in your body, obviously, if you're out there physically demanding a lot for your body on a daily basis, you're going to have long-term pain, much more so than someone that is more of an office job. Now, sleep deprivation is another unavoidable sacrifice. Between long shifts, night duties, and unexpected assignments, sleep becomes essentially secondary. Some roles require being awake for 24 hours or more, which leads to exhaustion and long-term effects on health. I could tell you myself, I had various different shifts while I just spent 4 years in the military. I actually didn't ever deploy, so I didn't have any kind of, time away from my family, even though I was single the entire time I was in the military. I didn't really have any kind of one-off circumstance that I ran into. Like one, for instance, is a MEU. I had a buddy that did basically the same job as me, but he went off on a MEU and spent about 9 months on a ship, had a considerable amount of work out there on the shift, very small confined spaces, and he himself had family and kids that he had to be away from. So a little bit different life in the military than I had, especially during those 9 months, but you get the idea. Sleep deprivation can definitely play a factor. And me, myself, I for a long time worked mid-crew, meaning I would work from 11 p.m. at night all the way till 8/9 o'clock in the morning. So there was definitely some adjustment needed there for the shift that I worked as well. And then there's military appearance standards. Unlike civilian life, there's little freedom in how you present yourself, obviously, while you're wearing the military uniform. Now, haircuts, grooming standards, and uniform regulations are strict. Facial hair, not unless you have an exemption. Tattoos, they better fall restrictive rules based on the actual branch that you're in. And the military decides how you look, not you. And don't forget climate exposure. Now, if you're from a warm climate and get sent somewhere freezing or vice versa, your body certainly has to adjust. And some struggle with extreme heat, while others with biting cold. Either way, it's not really up to you at the end of the day. And last but not least, mandatory vaccinations and medical procedures are part of the job. With the political situation that's going on now, there's a little bit of a gray area, but whether you agree with them or not, when the military says you need it, you take it. And that's essentially the deal. Now, the military isn't just physically tough, it's mentally exhausting. Isolation and loneliness definitely will hit you hard, especially when stationed far from home. If you're in a new country or a remote base, adjusting can certainly be rough. The key is to put yourself out there, make connections, and remember that isolation is temporary. But for some jobs, the mental impact runs much deeper. Exposure to traumatic events is a reality for those in roles like military police, medics, or combat positions. Seeing violence, injury, or loss can take a lasting toll, and some carry those images for life. High-stress environments are the norm, not the exception, and whether it's training, deployments, or real-world missions, pressure is constant. Fear, anxiety, and adrenaline essentially become part of your job. Over time, that stress can definitely wear on even the strongest minds. And then there's the lack of privacy from basic training training to barracks life, personal space is a luxury, guys. Whether you're sharing rooms, living in close quarters, or being constantly around others, privacy is a rare thing. Some adapt and others definitely struggle. One thing I can tell you, as an athlete for a majority of my life, it was still a huge adjustment for me in Marine Corps boot camp. Now, it was definitely an adjustment that I did make, as all of us that get through boot camp have to make. Not all of us do make it through boot camp, but even beyond then, it's the adjustment of the military life as a whole. I then got sent to essentially my school, which was a bit of an adjustment too. Isn't like college. And then from there, I basically got stationed in California, which most people will say, oh my gosh, you live in California now. That's great. There is still a major adjustment to living in the barracks when I moved and finally got stationed and set for the rest of my time in the Marines. I'm not sitting here to make this video to scare anyone, but individuals that don't really have the mental or physical load or capability in that sense to really be able to adjust to a new lifestyle, the military is probably not going to be the best decision for you. Now, a lot of this video has been kind of doom and gloom, and as I just mentioned, I'm not here to scare you. I made it through 4 years. I actually planned on doing much more than 4 years. I had planned to essentially make it my career. Now, looking back about 12 years after getting out of the Marine Corps, I can probably say it was the best decision for me in that point of my life. And it's definitely something that I look back and cherish and definitely appreciate the time while I was in. Now, one of the biggest sacrifices though in the military is being away from your home. While some see this as an opportunity, others definitely find it far difficult, especially when missing family events, milestones, or even the birth of a child. Now, for those thinking about education, the military offers tuition assistance and the GI Bill, but balancing school and service, I can tell you, is not easy. Some jobs are so demanding that college just isn't realistic, and the opportunity may be there, but making it work depends on your role and schedule. Relationships also take a hit. Whether you're married or you're dating, distance puts strain on any partnership. Long separations, time differences, and unpredictable schedules make military relationships difficult. Some may make it work, while many don't. And another challenge here is career instability. Every few years, you're uprooted and sent somewhere new. Now, while this builds adaptability, it makes settling down difficult. Finding stable housing, keeping a spouse employed, or ensuring kids stay in the same school, it's not easy when you're moving every 2 to 4 years. And even healthcare, while it definitely is free, it comes with frustrations. Appointments can be hard to schedule, wait times can be long, and care varies by location. It's a benefit, but not always a smooth one. But I can tell you, being on active duty in the military healthcare that you get is going to be far superior than what you will get while you get out. And it's not to knock what you get when you get out. You're just more of a priority as an active duty service member than an individual who is already done and over with their service. And last but not least, there's the ultimate sacrifice. Whether in combat, training, or unexpected circumstances, serving means accepting risk. And while most definitely return home, some don't. It's a reality every service member and their family must consider. Is it worth it? And despite these sacrifices, many find purpose, growth, and opportunity in the military, but it's not for everyone. Before joining, ask yourself, am I ready for this or am I not? Now, if you've made it this far in the video and you are considering joining the military, maybe the military life is something that runs in your family, it's a huge decision that essentially could change or shape what the future of your life looks like. Could be very, very good for you, or it could be very, very bad for you. Now, the hope is that you're making this decision not lightly. I can tell you, I kind of made my decision lightly. I decided to walk into the recruiter's office, and 2 weeks later I was in boot camp, but I was in a position at that point in my life at 19 years old that I didn't feel like there was anything left for me. And if there was nothing left for me, where I was at and doing what I was doing, working the job that I was working, going to community college and just kind of spinning my wheels and not going anywhere, I figured that at least by joining the military, I would get older, I would mature, I'd learn a little bit more about myself and understand what potentially my future could look like if I actually put some effort and time into something that was meaningful. And for me, that was the Marine Corps. Now, if you do have any specifics about any of the branches, joining the military life, the sacrifices that may come along with it, leave a comment down in the comment section down below, or you can follow me on all social platforms, more specifically probably Facebook or Instagram. I'll get back to just about any DM or comment on all social platforms, including comments on this particular video. So leave one if you do have any questions. As always, I appreciate all of your guys' support. Make sure to like and subscribe. It really does help, and stay tuned for the next video.